surprise you know?
Sure, okay. Gotta switch it up. So I want to make a few jokes. I have a lot on my chest now. This is like my therapy session, but for free. And that's probably better because my parents wouldn't let me get one. Anyway, so there's a lot that's been happening recently. At some point, Trump said that if we stop sending tests, right? If we stop testing people for COVID, then we just don't have COVID anymore. Which is infallible logic, and somehow my math teacher wouldn't believe it. I went up to her, I said, if you stop testing me, I will stop failing, and she didn't believe me. It's teachers, man, they just... So, okay, something genuinely painful that happened is I went over to this girl's house. She's incredibly pretty. I was dating her at the time, just gorgeous, and that's not relevant to the story, I just like mentioning it. I feel like, personally, it adds a lot of street cred to what I'm about to say. And so we go over with my parents because we were at that meet the parents bit that all 16-year-old children are at. And so I go over with my dad, who's fairly conservative, but he's trying, right? He's coming to this place where he's like, okay, fine, I'll meet your girlfriend if that's what you really want, as long as the grades are coming in, obviously. And so he's like, fine, I'll meet this girl if you really, really want me to. So we go over to her house. Her mother, sweet old lady, walks in. She says, hi, would you guys like any water? My dad says, and I'm not kidding you, he says, I'll have a samosa. Now, do you guys remember what the options were? There was water. There was no water. My dad could have gone nuts. He could have said, hey, I'll have, like, juice. I would have said, fine, sure, my dad's just a wild card. He asked for a samosa. And look, here's the real kicker. These people were white. So, they were just phenomenally confused. They were like, because I think that my father, he expected these people to have done research because we were Indian. Like, they were sitting there, like, what do Indian people eat? And they just came up with a solution that we take potatoes, we mash them and put them in, like, wheat, and then we decide to fry that. And that's where the white people are supposed to get. But then it dawned on me. And it was like, I was sitting in with him in the car, and I was like, why would you ask that? And he was like, why did I have you? I don't know what things So we were just hanging out, I was talking to him, he was fine, but it even more significantly just hit me that he was bargaining with this white woman. She offered him water, he brought her up to samosa. They were playing a game of bargaining. And I think that that's what my dad is in general, with bargaining. I feel like, God forbid, if my dad were to get mugged, I think he would bargain with the guy that was mugging him. So the guy would walk up to him and be, give me all your money. He'd be like, okay, I'll give you half. And that's just the kind of relationship that I really have with my dad. It's him with his engineering background and incredible intelligence in mathematics and science, trying to understand his kid who wants to do poetry and make jokes. Because like I saw some of the kids who were like singing and stuff, and that's where the child prodigy stuff really comes in, and I applaud it completely. But how does that work when your kid does stand-up comedy? Because, okay, brown parents, they have this thing where if you have a talent, they have to show it off at dinner parties. They just have to. It's their obligation. Because you have a talent. So if you sing at the dinner party. If you dance at the dinner party. But how does that work with jokes? Beta, come. Give us one sarcastic comment. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that's the ultimate loophole that I've gotten out of. Because whenever they ask me to recite a poem or tell a joke, I just make jokes about them, and they just stopped asking. So I have found the life hack. There is the way to win. You just don't have any talents that can show up properly. So that's my dad. And then my mom, she operates on a different realm of logic. Completely appreciate it, obviously. So like I went out to get food once. So I was like, hey mom, I'm going out, I'm gonna get some food. She said, okay, eat first. Why am I even going? Because mom's food is better, obviously. So yeah. So we got into this thing. Like around COVID, I've been trying to eat healthier, I've been trying to be better, that sort of stuff. You know, nonsense. And so I pick up an apple sometimes. I go on a jog. So I'm holding this apple. I wouldn't have even eaten it yet. And my mom goes, "What's her name? What's her name?" I look at the apple, I'm like, I don't know, Anjali, what do you name an apple? And she looks at me, she's like, what is her name? Why are you eating an apple? I go, I don't know, it's here, it's food, I might as well eat it, right? And she goes, no. You are eating healthy for a girl. Because if you're doing something for your own health, it is for a girl, let's be clear. Like, you can't be healthy for yourself. That would be insane. So we were at that position. So actually, I had my birthday recently, and I had a few girls over amongst my guy friends. And so she's graduating now from what's her name to what are their names. So I'm eating an apple. She's like, what are their names? And that's where we're at, health-wise. So no apples. It's kind of like having your mother be like a girlfriend that doesn't want you to talk with any other girls, but she also doesn't want you to like have any conversations with other people. But I can't do that in public, right? I can't be like, because okay, you have like a crazy girlfriend, you can be like, hey, I have a girlfriend. Whenever any girl tries to talk to you in any interaction, but how does that work? How do I go? Okay, so a girl walks up to me, hi. What's your name? Okay, let's pretend that by some miracle of God, a girl asked me for my number. What's your number? I have a mother. Doesn't everyone? How does this interaction work long term? My mother, she's been watching a lot of these Pakistani serials because she's an avid Urdu speaker. And despite being Indian, and my Indian nationalist father is getting very confused, it's a very good combination, the two of them. My mother being like an appreciator of Pakistani culture, my dad shouting Hindustan, Hamara, and all sorts of stuff. And so that's where we're at. And so I'm learning a lot of interesting Urdu words. I just want to explain to you the contrast, right? So in Hindi, if you want to go to the toilet, it's called a sandas, calm, tame word. The faint of heart, or as we call them Gujaratis, would call them jajal. Also fine, light word, cool word. You know what the word is in Urdu? Ghusal khane. With the epiglottis and everything. You mean the it's a ghusal khane. And so I think that when we're contrasting them, so I think that a little boy would get home from school and he'd be like, okay, Ami, I have to go to the Jajalu, then I'll eat my lunch, dal chawal, I'm assuming. And then mom would be like, okay, wash your hands. And that would be their interaction. But if there was an Urdu-speaking child, first of all, his voice has to be deep. Because how would it work if his voice isn't deep? The Urdu phonetics and things, it doesn't make sense. And he has to have a fully grown beard, obviously, he's an Urdu speaker. So he shows up at home, he's like, Ami, in order to sustain my nutrition, I must first be given consent to use the facilities. The ghusal khane. And I think that's genuinely the interaction that they would have, full beard and everything. So that's, I think, all the jokes that I could think of. Now I want to actually do a poem in Urdu, and then I'm going to translate it into English for the people that don't speak that.